Okay, we're recording now.
Right.
So the waterfall's just on our right, just saying where you're going, that nice big massive cloud, straight where you are, that's great. Okay. You'll see the waterfall's on the right. And then just have a enjoy.
Change frequency soon?
I will do that. I'll do the radio. You could just fly. It's all good. Okay. I need to make the call. I'll do this radio call rather than trying to describe what I wanted to say. So eventually I want you to make a radio call to say Kaimai or ridge traffic. You say ridge traffic, Golf X-ray Tango's crossing the ridge at the waterfall 4,000 feet, but not yet. I'm just going to have to call low approach. Golf X-ray Tango's clearing your airspace, remaining clear, and we'll call for our return to Tauranga.
Golf X-ray Tango, thanks for making clear of control airspace, change to local radar service terminated.
Remaining clear and changing to local glider frequency. Right. So now you can make your call. Golf X-ray Tango's crossing the ridge, waterfall 4,000 feet.
Golf X-ray Tango is crossing the ridge of the waterfall at 4,000 foot. Golf X-ray Tango.
That's cool. So just go and have a play. The thermals on this side, we don't know what they're like, they might be better. Well, it's quite good. So you saw a failed attempt where we were rapidly running out of height. And flying in towards rising ground, and clouds that looked exactly the same as the clouds which had just flown underneath, which clearly weren't going for us. And then while we still had enough height to get a good climb, running back and trying somewhere else. You could see how quickly the day improved. The cloud, we ended up at 5, didn't we?
Yep.
Whereas before we were 4-3 at cloud base. So take this if you want, do whatever you fancy. It's a trimmer glider, it's a glider which works well with trim, so if you decide to slow down and just grab the trim and pull it right back, it will help you in the thermal.
Should I go more to the right? To
go wherever you fancy going. Straight ahead of you is the township of Matamata.
Yep.
And just to the right of the nose now is Waharoa, and if you look to the right of Waharoa, you'll find we're almost dead in line with the strip. Now if you look at Waharoa, which is just to the right of the nose, and then you'll see a green paddock, brown paddock, and you'll see a triangle of buildings lit up by the sun. Those are the hangars for Matamata, and there's the strip we're dead in line with the strip now. We've got a long final for runway 280. Yeah, we're just dead in line for runway 28 now. You can see the strip. You don't know what the thermals are like this side, so don't turn your nose up at. Now, don't wait for a big thermal. You might not find one. We've no idea. There's different air.
So you think I should take this?
I think you should definitely, you know, at least try, see what they're like.
Prospecting.
Yeah. So according to this, we've got 15 knots on the ridge, so the ridge is probably going to be going. So we should be able to even out the flying a little bit, you see, by you should be able to do almost everything on this side, hopefully. Because we've got nice flat terrain, landable. And we can always fall back on the ridge. Were you able to pick out Waharoa Township and then the airstrip? Yeah, well done, yeah.
Airstrip not so much.
The airstrip's freshly mowed. Freshly mowed rectangular strip, fairly big. If you can identify, there's a glider below us.
And there's one there on the ridge.
Yeah, on the ridge. If you can identify Waharoa, that triangle of buildings which are lit, and that the strip is mostly in shadow, it's coming round on the nose now.
Okay, yeah, no, got it.
Yeah. You see the hangars, you must be able to see the strip because they're basically on the edge of the strip. So you can see somebody on the ridge, can you?
Yeah, over them. I don't know.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, they're actually not on the ridge, they're in thermal, which is crossing the ridge. That glider down there below us, look at your left wing.
Yeah, got him there?
Yeah, that's obviously thermaling as well. So just because we've got 14 knots of wind up here, that's just enough for the ridge to go. Doesn't mean the ridge is going.
Yeah.
And the guy that's on the ridge, if you notice, he's going round in circles, he's underneath the cloud streak. Hello Johan for the club Facebook page. So your first flight in the duo.
Yep.
And you cross the Kaimai's.
First flight across the Kaimai.
Yeah. Cool. And we're just thermaling. Yep. Nice day. Not quite as good as yesterday, but still quite a nice day.
Yeah, I've lost sight of that other glider. Ah, there he is there.
Got on the club Facebook page. It's always important just to keep putting stuff in. I found a post from CNN that said that the 777s have difficulty in maintaining altitude when the fuel tanks are empty.
I saw that post. Into that.
Yeah, that glider that was on the
Bridge is
it's just coming here, you see, so today the ridge might only work if you're down right on it.
Yeah, I think I'm out of the lift, yeah.
No, I mean the ridge itself. Oh yeah, up here was
Yeah.
we're not even going to get a breath of ridge lift up here. Not a breath.
No, I'm talking about the thermal.
Oh, the thermal, yeah. Well, it's just we don't know that they're going to be the same as they are on our side. Very often we get the thermals are actually stronger on our side. Very often, but not all the time. But they can be quite significantly different. Also, the cloud base can step down here.
That goes directly.
What's that, sorry?
There's a guy going directly underneath us as well now.
So the screen's gone blank. Is it still recording?
Ah, yeah, just have energy.
It's not using its electricity to
Power the LCD.
power the screen,
So I've
right?
got the one visual there, I don't have the other one.
Yeah. Well, everybody will be on 13355, so you don't have to stay here. You can go somewhere else.
Should we try that one over there?
You can go wherever you fancy. That one looks quite nice, doesn't it? It's got a nice flat base, got very good vertical development. So we pop out of this air here. We're in bad air now, so we want to be flying about 70, between 70 and 80. The curve is quite flat. There's no significant difference between flying at 70 and flying at 60. And flying at 80 is probably not even that much worse. It's really quite a flat glide in this tour. So as you approach it, you'll see, if you can see the base is domed slightly, you can aim for the centre of that dome, or otherwise just look for the highest peak. The wind is coming slightly.
Oscar Bravo to X-ray Tango. Adrian, can you hear me?
Yeah, I've got you, thanks Mark. We're just in the Waikato at the moment, just thermaling around.
Any intentions?
Just to let Johan fill his boots. It was a bit tricky getting some climbs. He did a little bit of a climb, but it was just a bit tricky getting across, so I pumped the glider a bit.
Yeah, no, it wasn't easy getting out of there. Might head over to Mount Calvary or head out that way.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm just going to let Johan just go. He's just trying all the different thermals at the moment.
Okay, touch base later.
Cheers. See, that one's a surprise, isn't it? It's not actually going. That's a nice looking cloud. Oh, there you go. Bit feeble, but So if you're looking for somewhere to go,
Yeah.
we've always got the ridge to fall back on.
Okay.
These clouds straight ahead kind of look a bit sort of weak and dead, don't they?
Yeah.
But there's no reason for you not to try them. But the good bit of the ridge, if it is going to be going, the good bit of the ridge is if you look right now where the waterfall is, that bit, that's good. Where it's all broken up by spurs, even though it's higher, it's not so good.
Okay. So should we head towards Waterfall?
Or take this climb. Yeah, take this climb. It's the best bit of lift we've found, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's smooth, so. Oh, through it.
Yeah, turn around and.
Well, it's up to you, but I wouldn't bother. It's best to take it straight away. We know it's weak, isn't it? It's soft, it's weak. But I think if you get down to 3 and you haven't found anything, I would definitely scuttle to the ridge. The ridge, if nothing else, will be a good source of lift, of thermals anyway. So I'm going to just have to change frequency here, just to 122.25.
Should I head to the ridge? There's nothing here.
Well, it's up to you. If you're going to go to the ridge, I won't change frequency.
Yeah,
otherwise, we're going to be in Mad Mother's airspace, you see.
Yeah.
Go to the ridge, by all means. You see the waterfall?
Yep. Should I aim at that?
Yeah. Or you can see the clouds where they're on the ridge, where that guy was climbing before.
Yep, over there.
Yeah. Or if you, take this. This will drift you back onto the ridge possibly. Oh, that's nothing. It's so weak, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. There's a puff there. Just come right. Just look, a puff's just popped up. Look right.
Oh, that one?
Yeah. That little one.
Yeah,
Try that. It's just forming. That's it. There might be something underneath that. So if you try the waterfall and it's not going, that's the best bit of the ridge. If that's not going, then the ridge is probably not going. Fly a bit faster when we're in sync because we're just hemorrhaging height. That's it. So just come round to the right a little bit so we get that's it, just directly underneath it. Maybe all these other gliders have tried the ridge and it hasn't worked. So you've got to fly faster. You can't go slow through all this thing. So round to the right.
Is somebody calling off the river? Calling off the river.
There we go, so straight up there now. We'll try this bit of the ridge. So let me have control here because we're getting quite low now.
Yep, you go control.
Have control. So just to see if the ridge is going. I don't see any vegetation moving, and the waterfall's just falling straight down.
Yeah.
I don't see any wind on the waterfall. If anything's going to be going, it's going to be going here. The closest looking cloud, if this doesn't look work is looking up. You see there in the cloud shadow.
Yep.
Go ahead.
That's the best bit.
What are you trying to do? Sorry, can I see that? Waterfall.
Tiny bit of something. You feel that?
Yeah. There we go.
I don't know if that's ridge or thermal. We'll find out.
Better ask you.
Must be some wind there. You can see a little bit of movement in the water, can't you? Just a bit. Oh, look, a hang glider in our 12 o'clock, now in our 11 o'clock. Seen there?
No.
Up in the cloud.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Ridge traffic, be advised, there's one-way hang glider activity over the Gulf Fall.
Well, I'm figure of eighting here, and I'm not really feeling very much pushing me onto the ridge.
Oh, there's a glider directly above us.
Yeah. Now look down there now, you see it? There's a bit of wind, see
Yeah,
it?
you can see the spray going
Yeah.
inside, yeah.
Suddenly sprung up. So can you see what I'm doing?
Yep.
I'm just figure of eighting around about the waterfall. The waterfall's a bit of a bowl. Wherever the wind's coming from, it gets in there, it can't get out. So it has to go up. There's another
Those
one
guys
coming
up
along.
towards us, yeah.
So the ridge is obviously working low down. Okay, can you do this?
What, the figure of eight?
Yeah, figure you have control.
Yeah, I control.
Just keep figure of eighting here, and then we'll go over to look at where the hang gliders are launching from. You see that ball, which is the radar repeater.
Yeah.
That's where they're launching from. We'll go over and have a look at them. There's a couple of people down there. One in an orange cagoule. If you get fed up with this, you can go over to where the cloud is and hook a thermal underneath that. Or we can run along the ridge to that golf ball. Everybody calls it the golf ball, that sort of...
Yeah. I don't mind.
No,
What do you think it
choose.
is?
Well, it's up to you, I don't mind. I've
Right.
done this so many times before. It's felt like showing the flight, see?
Yeah, well, I'm just
So-
enjoying this, but...
Yeah, so run along this ridge, straighten up, straighten up. You always have to be able to be far enough out so you can look down at the ridge. If it gets tucked underneath you, you don't know, you can't see that you're blowing over the back. So here, you might as well be doing 60. There's simply no point in being less than 60. So retrim it for 60.
There you go.
Oh, the ridge seems to be going quite nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I see him?
Yeah.
No. No, I'm keeping an eye out for him. So the only one I can see is flying up by the golf ball. You see him by the golf ball? See that speck going round and round right by the golf ball in the shadow? That's a hang glider.
Yeah,
Just turning now. Don't worry, I can see him very clearly. So it's just been lit up by the sun now.
Oh yeah,
the white
he's below
speck.
the...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's him. He's just
He's
launched.
up.
He's just
one up.
launched. He's just going back and forth, getting high.
There was one quite high up earlier.
Yeah. They're up there. Look straight up now. Up high. There's two of them. You see them there?
No.
Two. Look at the cloud. Look to the
Yep.
right of the cloud.
Oh, they're to the right.
Yeah,
okay, got it.
two of them. Yeah. Yeah, but they're not a problem. The one that's likely to be a problem is the glider in R12.
Yeah.
It's the same height as us. He's just edge onto us, so it's like a razor blade. And the one that's climbing will be a problem by the time we get there. So the other glider's just turning now, you see him? Doesn't matter, I can see. No, he's lit up by the sun. Lit up by the sun, that's the glider.
Yeah.
And the other guy's just above the ridge now. We don't want to fly too close to them because we can really disturb them with our the slipstream coming off our wings can really disturb them. So here's the other one. Look, those two that I've talked to you about going to pass right over the top of us now.
Yeah, I got that one there.
Yeah.
And there's that one there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Watch out for birds.
And there's one up high there as well.
Yeah, that's the second one.
Yeah, so it looks like there's two down there though.
Yeah, I can't see because your head's directly away now, but that's all good. The one that I could see, I've still got my eye on him, so that's all good. He's at the same height as us now.
Yeah. Is this track that I'm following okay?
Yeah, it's great. So this is what everybody calls the golf ball, and it's often a very good source of lift because there's a good line of energy here as well usually. So people will stop and take a climb here and they'll push out into the valley. So that mountain that's in your 2 o'clock now, that's Mangatau tree. That's it. And people will push out, climb up from here, and there's often a line of energy that will go to that mountain, and they'll fly towards it.
Oh yeah, you can sort of see one now.
Yeah. So you see the guy just yeah. So tuck in a wee bit. You know, we don't want to fly too close to them, but this is perfectly safe. Okay, there's nobody to launch. I can see the 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
I can see a people mover which carries the pilots and a ute which carries the hang gliders. So you've got to tuck in, you're too far out here, we won't get anything, you've got to be tucked in close. He's quite a bit above us now, so it's not a problem. But you've got to be tucked in close, otherwise you won't get anything.
You know, start turning to the right now.
Yeah, just a little bit, but you've got to get close. You've got to get close, or else nothing will happen. That's it. So you can either figure of 8 here where it's really strong. Okay. So round you go.
Right.
Yeah, slow down to figure of 8. And try to just keep yourself in front of that really good bit of the ridge.
Okay. Have you got in visual?
Yeah, don't worry about it, it's all good. Okay, let me have control.
You got control?
So we can turn here. Okay. But we just got to stay close. If we're too far out here, this is the really good bit of the ridge. Now the way to stay there is let yourself drift right on top of the ridge, and then you pull up, and then when it peaks, you turn, and it's got to be a nice crisp turn. So you've got to stay as close as you can. Like that. Look how close we are still, you see?
Yeah.
We let ourselves drift back. And that's rinse and repeat. I can see him, don't worry about it. And then rinse and repeat. Okay, we'll just rinse and repeat. There's the peak of the lift. Round we go in the peak. Okay. We've got to stay tight. If we're not tight, we're not going to be getting a good lift. There we go. So you have control, you try and do that. Let yourself blow right over the peak of it. Then slow yourself down, get a nice crisp turn going.
No.
Yeah. Don't dive down though, you've got to watch that nose. If you dive down, you see you speed up and we lose. So round we go again. You've got to try to stay in that good bit, but don't let the nose drop. If you hold your left rudder and you drive the nose down, you end up in a bit of a spiral.
Okay.
And the speed really builds up fast. There we go. Okay, so we may have moved out of the lift. In other words, we may have climbed above it somewhat. So what we'll do is we'll push on to where that energy is. Looking at the clouds now, not so much the ridge. So looking at the clouds, and we're going to try to get a climb underneath those clouds. And you can push out along that street.
So wait until that next one?
Well, have a look with the glider that's climbing in your 12 and see him. Go and join him. It's in right in front of you now.
Okay, yes, got him.
Living your 12, yeah. Just go and join him. So we climb quite rapidly in that ridge lift, you see. So he's not as high above us as he was. But look how it's steeply cranked over, look. Now the wind is coming from our right, so you need to go right of him, round to the right. Because don't forget, the thermal's going to stream back. Yeah. So straighten up there now, and you're going to intercept that thermal. So he's turning left, so protocol requires you to turn left as well. Yep. Don't just wait till you get to the lift.
Okay.
That seems to be it now, so round you go, slow yourself down, grab the trim, pull it back. That's it, round we go, nice and tight, nice and tight. And we'll drift back over the ridge. So we've blown downwind a little bit, so straighten up, straighten up, straighten up. Straighten up, straighten up, straighten up, we've got to get away.
Okay.
We're actually downwind of where he's thermaling.
Okay, I don't have visual.
Yes, okay. So you see it, look, you see we're getting back into the lift. Now round you go again, round you go again. Got to be nice and tight. Now if you look up now, we've got up, we're just slightly upwind of them, that's good.
A little bit of sync now.
Okay, so now straighten up there now, straighten up. There's no guarantee that we're in the same bubble that he's in. That's it, round we go. Nice and tight, keep coming round. Now, because we're right in the lee of the ridge now, look, you see, so we've got to straighten up there now. Get back over the ridge. So look, we might go for that street. Look at the street.
That one?
Yeah, look how good
Yeah.
it is. So come round to the right.
To the right?
Sorry, to the left, sorry. Use the ridge up until we get ourselves lined up with that. Straighten up there now. And fly forward to the ridge. If we're still just in the lee of it, if we look down, we're just a little bit in the lee of it. There we go. So we can either go to that cloud that's on the left, see the one on the left, that nice big flat base, which is over the road, over the Kaimais, and then zig right to contact that street. Or we could just straight line it from here, your choice. If you're going to straight line it from here, we're kind of in line with it now. If you're going to straight line it from here, you'll have to be doing 70 or 80, so get your nose down. Good air now, so we can slow down to 70. This looks really smooth, really smooth. So it's how sensitive it is. That one pull slowed us down to about 55, so super smooth. Okay, speed up again now. Possibly slightly right is the meat of that centre of that. That's it, straighten up there now. Looking at that seems to be the blackest part. Okay, and just take this if you feel like you can. So this is the road over the Kaimai, as you can see.
I've lost vision of that other glider.
He's long gone. He's buggered off.
It's actually quite a nice climb.
It's what?
Quite a nice climb.
Yeah, it's nice and cool, isn't it? In the shadow, it's nice.
Trying to reach this on the fifth.
So what we might do to save chewing up our batteries, because we don't really need that transponder now, we might just flick that off.
Okay.
Mark can actually see us using that, but I don't think anybody else will be able to see us.
Yep. So I switch it off?
Yeah, just to save its juice.
One more turn and then straight?
It's up to you.
Yeah, I think one more then.
This would be a good place to go home from, wouldn't it? From
Yeah.
here. But it's no guarantee this will be here when we want to go home.
And we're at 4.5, which I think is our max as well, isn't it?
So what?
Isn't this where we're going to patrol the airspace?
No.
Isn't it? Oh.
No. Do you remember I asked if T254 was open?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is that the airspace above us then?
Yeah, it's up to 6.5. So it's all good. But you're right, if it's not open, the limit is 4.5. Yeah, but it's open, so. So possibly a little to the right. Just a touch. If in doubt, always in the centre of the street. Usually one side will work better than the other. And as a rule of thumb, the sunlit side. Okay, the sun's not directly overhead, is it?
Yeah.
If you're not sure which is the sunlit side, just look down, just find some trees or something, and you'll see that, you know, this right-hand edge is the sunlit edge. But if you don't know, in principle, just fly down the centre of the road type thing.
Maybe zigzag.
Say again?
Maybe zigzag to try and find where everything
Well, no, it's working, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now look, it goes left, doesn't it? So you have to go left as well. So you can just ease yourself back, somewhere between 60 and 70 is good. If it's good lift, fly closer to 60. So I come around to the right, you can see there's a bit of an edge to the cloud there. Straighten up now, straighten up, that's it, that'll do. And looking ahead, you can see it's looking pretty good. Go ahead, Mark.
I'm just at Tirau at the moment, and I might head down towards the swamp. What are you up to?
We're actually heading to Karapira at the moment on this street. We've just left the ridge of the golf ball, we're just flying along the street towards Karapira at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite a good run out. I'm just thermaling above the quarry, just off to the north of Waikato.
Copy, I'm just letting Johan get as much time on the stick as he can, so we're just going wherever it's easy to go.
Oh, we'll come down to the swamp if you're heading that way.
We'll cope.
What's the radar? Where are you? copy, Foxtrot 0.
So we've got
See you, Bruce?
on our left, that township is Tirau.
Where are you?
There's a strip
You're
level.
breaking up a bit there. I'll just be circling over Karapira. I'm just now heading north up to the swamp, over. Right, I got that. Thanks.
So to the right, we've gone past T-Poi.
Yep.
That little township there off our wingtip,
Yep.
that's Hinuera.
What is it? Over red, I'm on up hang gliders.
So that's Lake Karapiro.
Directly ahead of us.
Yeah. Which is where Mark is.
Okay. But did you say it's heading north?
Yeah, it's going to the swamp. So come left a bit, I think.
So dogger patch.
Yeah. See how Lake Karapiro went there, the Waikato River.
Yeah, I've camped it on it.
Oh yeah.
I used to have a camper van and camped it once. Yeah, that's alright. We've got the wind behind us to go back to the ridge if we want to. Anyway, you've seen how we push out from the ridge. Yeah.
There we go. gone past Tirau.
Oh, that Tirau below us there.
Township there. So round we go back.
To the right?
Yeah.
Just back to the ridge?
Yeah, back to the ridge. You see how far out we've come, look, you see?
Yeah.
You see, just follow the same line of energy back. So about there is good. And now we're going downwind, we're in sync, we definitely want to be flying about 70 to 80. We're going to preserve our height. Then when we get to some lift, we'll slow down. Come to the right, don't wander out of the edge of this line of energy, that's it. Okay, we're out of the sync, so you can slow down a bit. Going downwind, once we're somewhere between 60 and 70, we'll be fine. Feel something kicking you, fight against it. Like something kicked his left then, didn't it? So turn right into it. Too late now, we've passed it, but don't let something kick you out. If you feel a surge, turn into it. Otherwise, you'll bounce off all the lift. You see, it'll just bounce you off it, left and right, left and right. So pick a point, aim for it. The point is usually the best bit of the street you can find. And make sure you're aiming for it, but if something kicks you off left or right, turn into it. I think that's a good choice. That cloud's to our left. Just come around left a wee bit. Aim for that.
That drop actually
Yeah.
on the nose.
We want to ideally arrive at the ridge high enough to be able to use it. If we get there too low, we've got to struggle around on the foot, but we're going to be fine. But you always want to try to maintain as much height as you can by flying pushback. So heavy sink, so faster. Get ready, go, we're out of the sink. As soon as we clear the sink, we'd slow down again. Still in quite severe sink zone. Come round to the right a wee bit now. There's some cloud there, let me see it.
That dark one?
Yeah. So come around a bit more. And aim for that, that's it.
feet off 3,700 family flight. And four glide and glide in the room.
Take control now, just in case we
control?
Yeah, out of control. We have quite a bit of extended set, so I'm hoping this little bit of cloud gives us a little boost. So we haven't really got much wind now.
I'm saying 11 knots behind us.
Yeah. But I'm just looking at the cloud shadows moving. They're not doing an awful lot. So as you approach the ridge, you always fly through quite a bit of sink as you get to it. So it's pretty much always the case. It doesn't really matter. Oh, here's that little boost I was hoping we might get. Looks a nice looking cloud. It's the best looking little bit of cloud that I could see in the vicinity.
This mechanical vario gets stuck.
Yeah.
Earlier I was looking at it and the sound wasn't making sense. It wasn't corresponding to the vario.
Yeah. You have to keep tapping it or just ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So what we'll do is we'll just ride this up. And we'll see if we can get something on the ridge. And we'll just work our way north. And then we're going to look for a street which runs into the swamp. Usually it's going to come off Mount Tirau. If there is a street there, that generally will run into the swamp. So this part of the ridge here is quite broken, it's not a lot of use. So where the road goes over, that's kind of the last easily usable ridge. On a good ridge day, these lower broken up ridges will still go. They'll still do something, but not great. And if you look from where the road goes on, it's actually quite a good ridge. It will work in fairly light winds. I'm not absolutely convinced that this is this instrument is accurate. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it was overreading. You know, I'm looking down and we're supposed to have had 13 or 14 knots, and I'm figure of 8ing, and I'm just not feeling it. You know, where we were on the ridge before, I'm thinking this is hardly anything. This is not really blowing me onto the ridge particularly.
Yeah. So you're talking about the wind speed that it changed?
Yeah.
Because it changed 12 knots at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. not 100% certain that that's accurate. I think it's a bit optimistic. There we go, so you have control again. We'll just work our way along the ridge. If it doesn't, the ridge doesn't go, it's at least it's a good source of thermals. And they might be blue and you can just bounce along them. If you just give it a little bit of right rudder, that'll straighten us up. That's it. It's just sort of, you know, that yaw string, keeping that yaw string straight.
There's a bladder directly.
Yeah, straight in our 12, isn't it? But quite low down compared to us, so that's all good. But at least it shows that the ridge is going, which is nice. So the ridge rules is you have the right of way. The rule is always give way to the right. So the glider that has the ridge on the left must give way to the glider that has the ridge on the right. For obvious reasons. If you've got the ridge on your right and you give way to the right, you fly to the ridge. But you know you always give way to the you must never turn left, assuming the other guy hasn't seen you. Because if he has seen you and he turns right and you turn left, it all ends in tears. If you turn right and smack into the ridge, it ends in tears. Yeah. If you, just to fly a little bit faster in this thing, if you've got enough distance from the ridge to turn right, then do so. But don't fly into the ridge just to obey the give way rule, or the right of way rule. As soon as we're in the sinking air, you just push it straight back up to about 70 and 80 knots. The little red diamond gives you what the air's doing. So if it's 0 or slightly plus, then somewhere between 60 and 70 is good. If it's a lot down, then somewhere between 70 and 80 is good. This is nice, you pull up like that. You can't expect all profit and no loss, and we like to end up at Tirau about 3.5 if we can. We should be able to, because there's some nice clouds ahead on the ridge, you see them?
Yep.
So cruising speed up please. Just move. Between 60 and 70. Between 70 and 80 we're in sync. See these little puffs to look up? These are all forming, they're all going to give something, you see.